Hey,
How are you doing today, love?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome. So,
Thank
welcome
you.
to Elegant Conversation with Jacqueline Valdez, and I'm so excited to have you here. Our next guest, Miss Constance Fields, and we are talking about Black mental health in 2020. It's crazy with everything going on.
It is. It absolutely is. And I'm just honored that you allowed this space to be cultivated for topics such as this. So
Of
thank you.
course, of course, of course. Yes. So, yeah, with everything going on, how are you finding yourself to stay centered?
Oh, I actually wasn't expecting to talk about myself right off the bat. No, I find myself having really awesome conversations with people who um, they may not have my shared lived experience,
Right.
but they are open to listening and understanding. And I think that that is what a lot of people need. Everyone in the Black
Yes.
community definitely would
Yeah.
value from.
Yes. Yeah. And what words of advice would you give someone who is in the younger generation and they're growing up seeing all of this happening that's going on in the world as far as the racism and, with all of the riots and everything that has happened?
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's important before we really get into
Yeah.
that part of the advice giving for the younger generation to understand
Right.
that we as a people have been dealing with generational trauma
Yes.
dating all the way back to our ancestors being, stolen from Africa and
Right.
brought over to be slaves. And
Right.
then it continued with a a system that was designed to oppress us that continues to oppress us.
Right.
And so, you have that continued
Right.
um, thing that we go through. Um,
Right.
the other thing to remember is that we are not a monolithic set of people.
Mm.
Nobody really is, but
Yeah.
that means we don't think the same. We don't believe the same things, you
Right.
know. But having said that, what happens to one of us happens to
Right.
all of us,
Right.
and
Right.
that's why you have this collective uh, surge
Yeah.
of activism because that's part of our culture.
Right, right. And I think it's so important that everyone speaks up and everyone
Hmm.
uses their voice to let others know, it's going to be okay. And how are we going to get through this? And to not just sit by and watch other people being abused or
Exactly.
neglected.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
that's super important. So
Hmm.
then you got into helping others and helping through mental health and coaching.
Hmm.
So tell me a little
Yeah,
bit about how you got into that.
absolutely. So I've always helped people my whole life.
Uh-huh.
I was born with a spiritual gift to discern and have visions. I actually don't have visions anymore. That was more like
Uh-huh.
something that happened when I was a child, but now
Right.
it's just a knowing. But it aids me in helping me when I'm talking to people and they're coming to me with their issues.
Right.
So I decided to just go to school for it.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
about a year and a half away from completing my master's in clinical mental health counseling.
Right.
And, the Black community needs more, culturally diverse,
Yes.
culturally competent
Yes.
mental health care workers.
Yes. Yes. And have you noticed that during this period of time that a lot of the Black mental health has been very suicidal or just very triggered?
Yeah, actually, I can't speak to the suicide aspect of it,
Yeah.
but I do know that, you know, Black people, we have the same kinds of emotional issues, traumatic experiences,
Right.
depression, anxiety, and all of that. I've read some articles that discuss the fact that after George Floyd, keeping
Yeah.
in mind that he was just a catalyst
Yeah.
to change, but this stuff has been happening for a long time.
Yes.
um, you know, after that and witnessing that, it was just heightened anxiety.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot that plays into how why Black people don't have as much access to
Mm. Support.
mental health support.
Wow.
And then a lot of it is stigma as well.
Yeah.
So that's a cultural thing that is slowly becoming less and less of an issue, but
Right.
it's still an issue.
But it's still an issue. Yeah. Is there tips that you would give people as far as like the anxiety that is coming up and how to cope with that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things you can do is practice meditation,
Okay.
practice breathing exercises.
Mm, yes.
There is nothing wrong with taking a break and realizing that you need to center yourself and take time for yourself
Yes.
and shut out the noise
I love that.
because we don't have to be strong all the time. There's this trope
Yeah.
that Black people, specifically Black women, are strong Black women.
Right.
But to that, I'll say, I'm guilty of using that in the past as well because
Okay.
I would say what my grandmother told me or my mom
Right.
told me. You come from a long line of strong Black women, okay?
Interesting. Yeah.
But my ancestors weren't strong all the time. Nobody's ancestors were strong all the
Yeah.
time,
It's hard
you
to be
know?
strong all the time.
Yeah, it is. And it was actually my mom who I think broke that cycle for me to see someone go who looks like me
Yes.
go to therapy. I went to a number of therapy sessions with her when I was a kid,
Okay.
even if I was waiting in the lobby,
Right.
and then I had my first therapy session as a middle schooler because
Okay.
of her,
Wow.
so she really cultivated this atmosphere of
Right.
normalcy around mental health, and not everybody has that
Yes.
experience.
That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, some people are scared to say that they need help or they just don't have the resources and they don't know where to go to.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there are a number of resources out there.
Okay.
I know I kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent. You asked me to give
You're fine.
some tips, but there's a ton of resources out there in terms of um, following people on Instagram. I follow a number of people. Therapy with Ash,
Okay.
therapy for Black girls.
No.
Therapy is light. So I have a few more that I follow,
Yes. I love it.
but also you can go to Psychology Today, or you can go to American Counseling Association. Those
Right.
websites have a list in
Okay.
your area of mental health care workers who you can go through. You can look at their picture, you can read what they're about, what they
Yeah.
specialize in, what they, the demographic that they treat, and their price. And
Yeah.
you can make the conscious decision of who feels right
Right
to
with
you.
you. Yeah.
Right.
That's so important. That's so good that you gave different links that people can go to and different areas that they can go to. And I feel now with social media that there is more opportunity for us to reach out on Instagram or on
Definitely.
Facebook and stuff like that, which is really nice.
Definitely. And Taraji P. Henson, the actress,
Yes.
she actually has a foundation.
Oh,
The name is escaping me, but I'm sure your viewers can look it up.
yes.
But she was actually offering free mental health care for Black
Nice.
people. I don't know if she's still doing that, but she has this foundation because she recognizes that it's important.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool. And acting, you do acting as well.
I do act.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a little dry right now, but no, I've been acting since I was in high school. That was a complete mistake because I was supposed to be in chorus and they switched me to drama and I was so mad. But I ended up loving it and I
Yeah.
stuck with it. And my kids are actors as well.
Oh, wow.
We
Okay.
all have an
Fun.
agent, and
Yes.
it's just a lot of fun.
Nice.
I've only, so far been in, one major project, but
Exciting.
they're coming. They're coming.
Manifest, manifest.
Right. I think
Yes,
I think it's all about the timing of things
yes,
and where you are in life. And I think what I would say to people is if you're ever in a situation where you're like, well, I don't know if this path is the right path,
yes.
pay attention to little signs because
Okay.
little things will happen to allow you to realize, okay, I'm going on the right path when I do this. So this
I
feels
love that.
really right to me.
Yeah,
So
I love that you say that because I am a huge believer in manifestation, and I'm a huge believer in, okay, I really need to, like you said, clear the noises, clear the voices out, and just focus on, okay, this is what the universe is, bringing to me. Yeah.
exactly.
And I
Right.
feel like, it does start with our mental health too, is we really
Hmm.
need to support each other and spread love and go ask for help if you need help and
Hmm.
control that anxiety, do the meditation, do the breathing. That's so huge. I've been talking to other people, and that's like one thing that keeps popping up is just breathe.
Right. And knowing that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot, if we're, continuing on the theme of the Black
Yes.
community, there's a lot of things that we have to internalize
Yes.
daily and witnessing things on a continuous basis
Yes.
while we're at work, for instance.
Okay.
You may not have anybody to talk to, and you
Yeah.
have to then internalize that trauma
Yeah.
and go about your day. So you're basically acting
Like everything's
in your
okay.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're basically two split people.
That's
And
true.
that's exhausting.
Yeah, that's very
It's
true. And
really
I feel
exhausting.
like when you start to internalize stuff, it affects your health and it affects your body and it
It
affects your
absolutely does.
spirituality.
It affects all of that because it's all one big circle.
Yeah.
We're all anytime we have an emotional experience, a mental health
Yes.
issue, anxiety, stress, depression, it all falls into affecting our body, and then we have headaches, and then we have
Yeah,
stomach aches. And
it's very true.
I as my day job, I love saying that. As my day job, I work for a gastroenterologist,
Okay.
and a lot of people that we're seeing have stress related issues.
Wow.
If they just cut out certain
Yeah.
stressors, their stomach issues wouldn't be happening or happening as frequently.
That's interesting that you say that because I know with autoimmune issues, and one of my doctors has been telling me gut health is so important
It
and
is.
taking care of your stress and taking care of
Mm-hmm.
your stomach, what
Mm-hmm.
goes in
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah,
Is there
absolutely.
something that you notice in the Black community as far as mental health that really is a huge issue that's not
You
talked
mean
about?
that? Oh, that's not talked about in terms of like a mental illness, or
Yes. Or
I think that mental health as a whole has
yes.
not been addressed,
Yeah, I agree. Very much so.
because it's um, realizing that everybody has a different lived experience. Okay,
Yes.
as a whole,
Yes.
it has been the history of Black people that we pray it away, we consult with our pastors.
Right.
It's just something that we live with and push through. Um, it's not like, oh, I'm something is wrong, I feel depressed, or I feel off, or
Right.
something doesn't feel right. Let me go actually find
Correct.
a therapist to help.
To help you through.
So that's been something that I think is starting to change. We're starting to really see, and I think it's a lot of the younger generation that are helping with this
Right.
because they realize the connection spiritually and mentally, the
Correct.
importance of positive mental health.
Correct.
So I think that that's helping,
Uh-huh.
and we are moving in the right direction, but there is still that stigma, specifically with Black men. Black men they tend to not seek out
True.
therapy or the guidance of a counselor.
Yeah.
So having said all that, we need more
Yes.
Black mental health counselors. Thank you.
Is there something that we can do to help change it and to help change that stigma?
From an outside perspective,
Mm-hmm.
well, man, that's a tough question because I don't know that I have the answer to that. What I can say is that everybody has a duty, and no, not everybody realizes they have this
That they
duty,
do.
but I'm putting it out there.
All right.
Everybody has the duty to be culturally competent.
Yes.
It's not just on the heads of people who are in the therapeutic community or
Yep.
counseling, psychiatrists. It's not just those folks. It's everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a duty to be culturally competent and culturally aware that there are other people's lived experiences that
Yes.
you should seek to understand.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that you said it's a duty because I feel the same way. I feel it's a duty for mankind to all step up.
It definitely is. I mean, and it's important to, not fall into I don't see color because that's just not going to work. You
Yeah.
should see color. You should recognize differences. You should see that other cultures are different from you.
Right. And appreciate them.
But that's what I was going to say. The key
Yeah.
is appreciating them and recognizing that difference and embracing it and wanting to learn more about it. Like I work with people who are Hmong,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
Okay.
and that's not been I've never been around a Hmong person until I
Yeah.
started working where I work.
Wow.
But I seek to understand their culture. And
Yes.
as such, whenever COVID happened, and there was this this xenophobic or I can't even talk right, racism happening towards the Asian community,
Correct.
I was like ready to fight. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let me hear somebody say that to you, say something to you. I'm like,
Yes.
and so that's the type of person I think it would benefit everybody to feel
Yes.
something like that for
Yes. To feel
each and every
more
one of us.
compassion and to feel more understanding towards
Right.
something that you're not, that you don't know, that you're not personally a part of. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. So as far as being picked on or being bullied or being called out, what are ways that you would tell someone to handle that and to respond to that? Hi guys, thank you for all popping in.
Hi, everybody. uh, okay, so the non-counseling part of me would be
Right.
like, but no, I think that, and it's hard to actually say this without adding in something, but I would say just realizing that people do things and behave certain ways because of whatever trauma and hurt that they've experienced in their lives, and it's a personal thing for them to express hate because they hate themselves.
Yeah.
So there's some part of you, if you are, picking on somebody or being disgusting to someone and being racist or whatever, they have to look internally and see what that is that's happening. Now, in terms of the person being bullied, I would say I have less advice for that and more advice for people who are bystanders.
Okay. Very
Because
true. I agree. I'm
because
huge
yeah,
with people that are bystanders too, as
yeah,
far as any kind of bullying, animal cruelty, anything that's
right,
not right.
right. For the bullied, realize that they're not alone and that there are people who will stand up for them and go to bat for them, and
Yeah.
then to actually have those bystanders do that, because you can't just say that to somebody and then nothing happens.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
but yeah, but just for, like my lived experience, when I was in sixth grade, I
Uh-huh.
was on the bus getting ready to go home from school, and this little white girl, I was sitting in the front seat,
Oh, wow.
and she was like, "Get out of my seat," and I said, "No, there's no assigned seats
Yeah.
on the bus," and she said, "You stupid N-word," and
Wow.
that was my first exposure to that. I
Hmm.
knew that that was a bad word, but I
Yeah.
had not heard it before.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
So I told my mom, or the bus driver actually heard it and kicked her off the bus, and then
Okay.
told the dean or whatever. And I told my mom, but there's only so many memories I have around certain things. So
Right.
I remember like key moments.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same.
Yeah. But I learned from that
Yes.
she, obviously had something going
Her
on
own demons. Yeah.
with her, and and whatever she was taught
Right.
as well.
Yeah, so it really is a huge thing of starting from the young ones and the parents taking on that duty and responsibility to make a difference, make a change, educate, make people
Mm-hmm.
aware.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Was there anything else that you wanted to let the viewers know?
I think I said everything. I took detailed. My husband said, "You took such detailed notes. I'm sure you'll do great." And I was
Oh, I
like,
love it.
"But I don't know what she's gonna ask me." But I think I got to say a lot of what I
Yes.
really wanted to make sure that I said. Um, just
I love it.
I want to reiterate that, I don't, I want to reiterate that Black people don't have to be strong all the time, and it's okay not to be okay,
Okay.
and that you should seek out someone who is culturally competent to help you with your mental health journey. They do not have to look like you. Um, but honestly, if they look like you, it helps. It
Mhm.
can help. But that is not the end all be all. So
Right.
if you find a counselor who is a blonde hair, blue eye, white woman, and you think, oh, she's not going to understand anything about me, she might understand more about you than you think.
Yeah.
And um, she's not seeking to say to you, oh, I understand where you're coming from, because she doesn't.
Right.
But she is trained in the ability to be aware and honor your cultural experience. So,
I love that. I love that. What do you want to be remembered by?
what do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered for the way that I made people feel,
No.
and the legacy that I left behind.
Oh, I love it. So much fun. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank
It was
you for
so good to
having
connect.
me. So good to
Yes.
connect. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Lots
Bye.
of love. Thank you guys.